Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about what North America was really like before European colonizers arrived. Long before, many Native American groups lived across the land, from the cold parts of Alaska to the warmer areas we now call Canada and the United States. Each group had its own language, beliefs, and way of living. A long time ago, brave people came from Asia. Some walked over frozen land, and others traveled by boat along the coast. They followed giant animals like huge bison, mammoths, and mastodons. As they moved around, they learned how to live in forests, deserts, and grassy plains. About 14,000 years ago, a group called the Clovis people became known for making sharp stone spear tips. These tools helped them hunt and were shared between different groups. As the climate warmed up and the big animals disappeared, people changed the way they lived. They started settling near rivers and lakes. They caught fish, picked berries and nuts, and dug up roots to eat. Around 9,000 years ago, they invented a cool tool called the atlatl, which helped them throw spears farther and with more power. They also made tools like knives, scrapers, and drills. Some even believed in life after death, which we know from the special items they placed in graves. As time went on, new cultures developed. During the woodland period, people built large mounds of earth. These mounds weren't just for burials. They were also used for special ceremonies and get-togethers. Some mounds were so big and well-shaped that we can still see them from the sky today. As villages grew, people started farming crops like corn, beans, and squash. They traded with people from far away too. Later on, in the middle of what is now the U.S., a group called the Mississippians built busy towns with open areas and pyramid-shaped temples. These towns were full of music, markets, and beautiful art. Life became more organized, and communities worked together and stayed connected. All of these changes happened slowly over thousands of years. But in the 1500s, everything started to change when Europeans arrived. In 1492, Columbus came to the Americas, and soon other groups like the Dutch, French, and English followed. This changed things a lot. Native people lost their lands, promises were broken, and new borders were made. Borders that became what we now call Canada and the United States. And now, we move into the woodland period. This era brought many changes to daily life. People kept building earth mounds, sometimes in large groups, across what we call the eastern and middle parts of North America, and even in the Southwest and Great Plains too. These earthworks came in many shapes and sizes. Pottery became smoother and more detailed, often showing patterns and shapes inspired by nature. Crafts like carving and tool-making got better with time, as people learned to shape stone, bone, and wood into beautiful and useful tools. In the Southwest, groups such as the Hohokam built whole towns and created clever irrigation canals to bring water to their crops, which helped them grow food even in the desert. Up in Alaska, the Inuit made stone lamps to light their homes during the long dark winters, stronger fishhooks to catch bigger fish, and sharper knives and harpoons for hunting seals and whales. In many places, mounds served more than one purpose. Some were homes for important leaders, while others were special gathering spots for ceremonies and seasonal events. At sites like Poverty Point, people built massive mounds along the river and used them for both daily life and sacred rituals. These places had roads, plazas, and large gathering areas, showing how well organized the communities were. Farther east in Tennessee, the Pinson Mound site has 17 big earthworks that were never homes but sacred places where people came together to honor the world around them, likely during important events or religious ceremonies. Native beliefs at this time centered on animism, the idea that everything in nature has a spirit. Trees, animals, rivers, mountains, and even the wind were all part of a giant web of life. People felt they had to keep a balance by giving thanks to the spirits. When they hunted an animal, they left gifts or spoke words of thanks to honor its spirit. When they cut wood, they honored the tree's spirit and asked for forgiveness. Building mounds by water, air, earth, and fire was a way to celebrate all the natural forces together and show respect to the world that gave them life. Next came what we call the Mississippian culture. Centered in the Mississippi River Valley, these communities also spread into the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, and from the northeast down to Louisiana, and even parts of the southeast. Two famous groups were the Adena and the Hopewell. The Adena made simple, cone-shaped mounds, often used for burials or important ceremonies, while the Hopewell shaped their mounds like animals and other symbols, works so big you'd have to fly over them to see the full picture. These shapes included birds, snakes, and other animals connected to their spiritual beliefs. Both groups built these earthen structures for religious purposes and to show respect for their ancestors and the natural world. One of the largest cities was Cahokia, near today's St. Louis, which grew between about 650 and 1350 CE. Cahokia had a giant central mound called Monk's Mound, over 100 smaller mounds, busy plazas, shops, and even ball fields. It may have had a population of more than 20,000 people at its peak, making it one of the biggest cities in the world at the time. People farmed huge fields of corn and traded it with neighbors near and far, spreading goods and ideas across great distances. In Alabama, the city of Moundville also thrived, with tall mounds topped by wooden houses for the elite and thatched huts for everyone else. Moundville became an important site for religious gatherings, drawing people from miles around, especially during special events that celebrated the changing seasons or honored their gods and ancestors. By the 1500s, many of these cities and traditions were still strong when Europeans first arrived. In 1541, the Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto traveled through the south in search of gold. His expedition brought diseases the native people had never encountered, and these illnesses spread quickly, causing great loss of life. Whole communities were wiped out in just a few years. Later, the French set up colonies in Canada and along the Mississippi, followed by English settlements in Virginia and New England. Although native tribes helped early colonies survive by sharing food, farming methods, and knowledge of the land, the newcomers also claimed vast lands, broke promises, and forced many Native Americans onto reservations. Over centuries, native communities resisted through wars and alliances, but new settlers kept coming, bringing railroads, cities, and laws that changed everything. By the late 1800s, most Native Americans had lost their ancestral lands and were confined to reservations. Yet their stories, beliefs, and achievements live on in the mounds, artifacts, and traditions that remain today, offering powerful reminders of the first peoples who created this land for thousands of years.